Oh wow. Just like that, we're live. Let me sip my water here before we proceed. All right. Got a sip. Well, for anyone that's wondering, that's curious, you are watching Sketching Past Midnight Live. And I am, of course, your host, who is the undisputed and unchallenged greatest of all time, CB Smallwood, here with you on this Friday night, getting ready to be Saturday. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. It's time to get started. So, I got laid out here a couple of interesting things. This will be a short broadcast because I'm trying to get my sea legs again because now I'm getting back into StreamYard, and I'll get into that for a second. We've got plenty of art, here to share with you, stuff that I've been working on, stuff that I've been doing, and yeah, should be fun. I don't think this will be a particularly great episode, but don't leave me just yet. Okay. All right. So, those of you that are used to my intros and all my little bits, those are gone for now. But it's like some weird thing. Prism Studio Live, which I love and highly recommend, is no longer streaming my stuff. It just won't do it. It refuses. So, but fortunately, it appears that StreamYard is working with me. All right, I got a comment here. Jeremy Burt says, "Good evening. I'm very happy to have you here with me." But anyway, where was I? Yeah, so I'm having a problem with Prism Live Studio, and I also got a not a friendly but kind of like a little bit of a alarming email from YouTube, letting me know they're kicking me out of the YouTube partnership program in 30 days. I have 30 days to get my affairs in order, and after that, I'm in trouble. Which it ain't no big deal because there shouldn't be any major changes other than maybe my live streaming ability through my phone might be affected. I don't know. Other people are streaming through their phones and they've not been affected yet. I've only noticed it through Prism Live Studio. So take that as you will. Okay. Let me get my stuff organized here. I think, yeah. Okay. So, Marsh Makes Comics says, "Hey, buddy. Hello, good sir. I'm glad to have you here with me." Let's see. And I'm also, Marcia. I'm going to be on your show again one day, again soon. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But for anyone that's just now tuning in, what you're looking at, and I promise I will get to the sketching portion here soon. What you're looking at is Crimson Frog. This is a character that I created. That it's a fan fiction, by the way. So I guess I really don't own it. I don't know. Maybe it just depends how you look at it. And I'm not really worried about ownership so much as like I have a story that I want to tell, and I just got to get it out there. So anyway, Cyberfrog, the creation of Ethan Van Sciver. There's a Cyberfrog universe, and there was a really interesting concept that Ethan Van Sciver had about you know telling stories, having different artists and writers telling stories of how these alien giant wasp, these Vespers, basically go around and they kill people, they devour them, and they turn their blood into honey. And so I thought that was such a cool idea, such a cool concept that what I wanted to do is I just wanted to tell a story of my own. And I know that I'm not really up there in terms of like I mean art and writing. I don't really have people's attention like I really would like to. I guess that's everybody that's an artist writer though, right? So I'm like, well, screw it. I'm not going to sit and ask permission. I'm just going to go ahead and do me a story, because I had a cool story in mind that I wanted to do. So my concept is Why not show something that happened on an alien world where the Vespas came and took over and see how it affected them? And I know you're wondering, this guy uh, is clearly not an alien, at least he doesn't appear to be. So, what is his deal? So, this is Malcolm. Malcolm was kidnapped by aliens, UFO, probably sometime around 1990s New Jersey. And he was a big fan of Cyberfrog. Now, what time he was on this alien world, he grew to love his captors, and I'll explain that. I'll make it sound a little bit better. And the Vespas took that planet over before he had a chance to go home to be returned, reunited with his mother, back to his old neighborhood, and he rose to become the champion of this alien race, even though the damage was done and the world still was, defeated. So what we're looking at now is, this is what the aliens look like. The Vespas is coming in to get this straggler in this ruined world. And you notice as time goes on, I change the look at the Vespas as I draw it. This is a little bit more like, I actually used reference of from Cyberfrog Blood Honey, and inspired by that. But as time went on, and I just kind of started drawing it more from my head and more from my gut, I feel like the Vespas got more. How do I put it? Got more evilish looking, a little bit more cranky looking. you know, more of my kind of thing, maybe. With the eyes more slanted and all this other stuff. You don't really get that here. It's just a pure insect. But here I just kind of put a little bit more personality in it. And then we've got Crimson Frog's leg coming into the foreground here, which brings us to the third page now. Right before I quit live streaming there for a week or two, because I panicked. Ian saw this page last. So we've got Crimson Frog here, and he's here to save the day. And we got this alien dude. I know you can't really tell, but that's an alien dude. His head, when it's colored, you should be able to see the difference between this Vespus honeycomb hive and this head. And I have no idea what the dialogue is. So don't judge me. But the idea behind this is like, here, take this, and I'll deal with this, and so he does, so he starts dealing with it right away. He doesn't need a gun because he just knocks stuff away. Crack. And then in the last panel, we've got well, not the last panel, but the bottom panel here. Sorry. We got the alien dudes like, hey, here's your gun, hero. Well, he doesn't look quite excited, but here's your gun. He's like, no, take it. Then we get to this panel, and it's more of that kind of thing, go back to your people and all this other stuff, and warn them stay out of this area or whatever. And then we've got Malcolm turning around, walking away, and then we get this splash page of Malcolm, Crimson Frog. It's going to have a honeycomb behind him. What I'd really like to do is down here, I would love to put a big giant dead Vespus head, but here's the problem. I always make problems for myself, I really think about these things a lot. It's like, he's walking away here. So what do? Do we say he just turned around and that's why it's there now? I don't know. What do you do about that? Hell, I don't know. But anyway, I love to put, just pure for the pure impact of it. But here's something else. I'm going to add lettering. We're going to add lettering that goes down the left-hand side. And the lettering will be something of the effect of, in big letters, the long trek home. It takes up the the page. That's what I kind of intended, More experienced letterer may have like something a lot cooler in mind, but I like the impact of it. When I originally sketched out this page, most of his upper torso is what's shown, and is a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger, But I kind of, in some ways, I like the original better, but this also works great because even though I'm not finished with it, the you can see what he actually looks like more head to toe. Of course, we're missing the toes, and as you know, I am a fan of Rob Liefeld, so of course, you can't be a proper fan without leaving off the feet. So that's where I'm at with that, and I may actually come back and work on that some more. So I'm going to flip this over, and now what we're going to do is I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you about oh, fish sticks. What am I going to talk to you about? Not fish sticks itself. No, 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 no. This project. This is a project that I need to wrap up. This is a horror anthology thing that I need to finish, and I'm going to try to get it finished by this month. We'll see how well I do, or whatever. I can't remember the title of the horror anthology right off, but that's okay. And again, I apologize. I'm not able to zoom on StreamYard like I can on Prism Studio, so I had to bring the camera in close. But we've got the Colonel Corn here with Bubo, and he's explaining the whole bit that goes down. It's something to the effect of like, "Well, hello there. You must have thought I've been dead for quite some time, but you would be mistaken. Maybe I've ripened in my old age, or maybe I am dead and just haven't got around to figuring it out yet. Regardless, I'm glad that you're here. And speaking of interesting tales to come," well, that was a bad transition. "My friend Bubo may have a story to tell you. Isn't that right, Bubo?" That's a turkey noise. "See here, Bubo's not quite the spring chicken. He's actually quite older than he appears. Look into Bubo's eye. Get close, much closer, and let's see the horrors that Bubo has seen. The horrors of the summer of hell." And then there'd be like, some big, fonts or big writing. I know you can't really tell, but that's Bluebelly's arm. Bluebelly's this Bigfoot like monster dude. There's his gut. I tried to render. So in the story, it takes place in like a 1800s, early 1800s Clay County or something. I don't know. This is talking about the salt mining industry and all this other stuff, which, salt mining industry probably looked nothing like that. But, it's my story. I make it up as I go along. Looks pretty good, right? And, here we see some miners out there digging away, laboring to get that salt, get that precious salt. And honestly, I need to do more research on how salt was mined in Kentucky and the surrounding areas. And I got a river raft there with bags of salt. Some guy just kind of stirring things, messing around. Looks like he's fishing, but he's not. I promise you, that's not what's happening there. And then we got this bottom panel, and got this guy digging. He's having a good old time. See, Gibb's a lot older than he appears as well. And in here, in his early years, before he became a comic artist extraordinaire with his Indiegogo for Doomed Barbarian, he was actually a salt miner in Kentucky. So pretty cool. All right. Is that bad? Did I say that I say my own art's pretty cool? Is that vain? Is that what that is? Is that vain? All right. And then we got this top panel. Pretty happy with this, except for the chicken. And I will tell you this behind the scenes look. You see that little that mouse? That was originally a baby chick, but I slapped the inks on there too hard, and it's like, well, it's a mouse now. So I gave it a tail and ears, and to go with its feet that I messed up. Um, Focus camera. So we've got this farmer here. He's pulling a plow. Well, he's not pulling the plow. The horse is doing all the pulling, but he's guiding the plow. See a close up of his face here, sorta. And then you know the horse is pulling the plow, and they're doing that bit. And there's a girl running in the foreground, and she's chasing a chicken, chasing the chicken. And then over here we get the center of the attention. I've redrawn this face a couple times, and I'm never getting it right. But this, I guess, this just have to do. This just have to do. But I really wanted to show her beauty and stuff like that, and she's sort of like she's not the catalyst, but she's a centerpiece of the story in a way. And so got the girl chasing the chicken, her looking at the girl, her looking at the girl, and then we see her full figure there in the doorway. So that's kind of where I'm at there with my comic book making abilities. Let me answer some comments here. Despain's Comics writes, rock and roll. Good to have you back live on the tube. Yeah. Looks like it's going to be StreamYard for a while. But I really missed my intro and all this other stuff. And I'm such a cheapskate. I don't want to pay StreamYard to have an intro. I may have to just break down and do it. I don't know. March Makes Comics writes, no rush, dude. We'll connect when we connect. And that's in reference to me coming on his show because I'm trying really, really hard to get on that show. It's like to line things up. I can never, ever get in sync, but I will. I was on, believe it or not, folks, I was on the show once before, eons ago. And I'm trying to get back, trying to get back on it. Gil writes up, what's up? Not much, not much. And speaking of Gib, as I alluded to earlier, oh so slyly, Gib has a Indiegogo for his comic book character Doomed Barbarian, which is over $500, give or take, I think. And man, there's all kinds of cool features that come with that Indiegogo. It's I think it's like what is it, like a 60+ page story, I think. And there's also like two or three, don't quote me on that, but two or three mini comics that come with it. That's pretty cool to me. And you get all this for like $25, and there's also other tiers, I think, that you can back, other perks that you can back to get all kinds of interesting goodies. So be sure to check out Gibbs Indiegogo for Doomed, Doomed Barbarian, Doomed Barbarian. That's still live as far as I know. In case you didn't know Gib, you need to go on Marsh's show. Thanks, Marsh. I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like I can make her prettier though, and that's what's so terrible. Like I feel down here, it came together fairly well, but up here, this is the opening salvo. Well, that may not be the right words, but it's. I feel like it was important to kind of get her started off right from the beginning, and no, apparently not. but I'm working on it. You know, this will have to do. Uh, Marsh says, yes, you were on the show and you're welcome anytime. You're one of my favorite creators. Put me on a pedestal. Well, you're one of my favorite creators. How you like them apples? I've turned it around on you. That's pretty cool. Drinking my water. So I guess it's time to draw now. I've talk. Didn't come prepared at all. I'm excited. What am I excited about? Well, I cleaned my office, first of all, what time I find a page to doodle on. I cleaned it. Now, to some of you, you'll look at it and be like, oh, that's not really clean. Well, I tidied it, okay? Swept, did all these wonderful things. I have to fix the ceiling because apparently where this house is really old, the upstairs fireplace is uncovered. When it rains, it causes damage. So I got to get the upstairs fireplace covered. And I got to fix the water damage. I went down into my office. But fear not, I will get it done eventually. And let's see. Yeah, I think I'll just draw on this page that I got out. That'll be fine. And the other thing I'm excited about is that where's my freaking pencil? I got a pencil right here. There we go. I got an eraser. But I'm sorry, I'm losing train of thought. Like I'm multitasking very horrible here. Anyway, so I got the office clean, and so I'm excited about that. And then I'm also excited about I got my computer running again. No, it's not the old computer, not the one that blew up, not the one of many. No. This thing that I got up and running is brand new. It was thrown away, cast aside by the system. And then I saw it laying there and I was like, come to me, little computer. I will fix you. And then I will destroy you through heavy use. But you still have life yet to give. And I'm sorry you can't really see what I'm doing. I just, ever so often, I guess what I have to do, I just have to bring it up here so you can get a gander. But, man, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Really need to be looking at reference before I do this, but if I mess up, I blame you guys. It's your fault. But I'm excited. I took this computer that was a castaway that was destined for the dumpster, and I installed Linux on it. All I have to say is, man, I better not cuss. I want to cuss really bad, but needless to say, Windows would be the program that would make me want to cuss more than anything. Windows. See, Windows used to be a nifty little program there. You know, everybody enjoyed Windows at one point or another. You know, nothing to write home about, but it did what it was supposed to do, right? But then over time, things kind of went downhill because Windows, they do updates. That's the problem with Windows. It isn't the viruses and the hacking and the cracking. No, it's none of that. What the problem with Windows is back in the day, they used to have like, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, 100 testers, people that knew how to code, that were working for them. And before they would do an update, before they would roll it out, they would test it weeks, months before, you know, you or I would get a hold of it. And so, yeah, they would test this stuff out, see how well it worked. And if there was problems, they would fix it. They would get rid of the bugs. But somebody in Windows, somebody at Microsoft who tried to cut corners, figured they'd save a few dollars. It's like, how about we just get rid of most of these people and we just roll the updates out and let the people themselves test it. That's what they did. And so that's why your computer is always messing up, crashing, doing all those wonderful things that you don't want it to do. Because there isn't that many, they don't test the software that much anymore before they unroll their updates. And that's why, if you have a memory problem on your computer and it installs a very huge update, all of a sudden your computer crashes and it goes into some weird safe mode. And now you lose all your family photos, stuff from dead family members that you can't get back. Oh, Windows. I sing thee praises. So, yeah. In case anyone's wondering, this is a make-believe plow. I just made this up. Let's see what we got here. Plow, much love, bro. I will take all the love I get. I'll hog it, as a matter of fact. Jim Cox writes, I appreciate that you talk in your drawing streams. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you appreciating me. I appreciate more that you watch them and listen to them. Thanks, Jim. Marsh says, my studio room is a mess. Probably looks better than mine. Well, I don't know. I did work really hard on it the past couple of days, so I don't know. We may have to make it a contest, but pretty happy with it. I have to say, though, my studio, or whatever you want to call it, I need to get a pencil out. I don't need to ink this. I need to figure out how to get his pose here. But my studio, it does not look like a YouTube studio. You know what I mean? One of those ones you see on the internet on YouTube where they got the nice backdrop light and they got all that jazz going on. Everything's that nice couch in the background, or that little doodads that kind of give you a little bit of hints of flair, personality of the person, that inhibits that space. So my studio doesn't look like it. I want it to look like that. I'll probably have to get rid of a whole lot more of stuff. But in one part of my room, I've got a tumbling mat. Martial arts guy. Hope to teach one day. And I also got a Wing Chun dummy. And for those that don't know, Wing Chun dummy is like this big pole sticks out of the ground. It's got these 3 poles that stick out from it, and you just hit your arms against this pole and punch it and kick it and all this other stuff. It don't actually look like a dummy, but that's what they call it. It's a Wing Chun dummy that I built. I built it out of PVC and screws. I've got like survival gear. Not that that I'm much of a wilderness guy. I don't even know why I have the survival gear. Because I'm not not been out in nature in forever, other than like the park or anything like that. And man, the lower half of his body just ain't wanting to cooperate. I'm gonna have to think about this. Maybe what am I doing here? Think about it. So maybe I just need to, I don't know. I need to do something. Twist him all up like a pretzel. But anyway, what was I saying? I'll show you this problem here right quick. Look at that. I can't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, I was talking about all the junk in my room. Yeah. Got boxes of CDs. Remember that? Remember CDs? Has anyone forgot that yet? I got a box TV. Got a box TV in there. But you ain't seen one of those in a while. Man, this is all freaked up. Looks a little better. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. How am I going to do this plow? Something like that, maybe. And then, I don't know. Oh, sorry. Okay, Marsh writes, try to get a great panel in on each page. Not every panel is amazing for even the greatest. I am the greatest. But if you get a good one in a few times, an issue, you're above most creators out there. Now, no, Marsh. It all has to be great. And I got to draw it faster. Much, much faster. So maybe, man, if this keeps going the way it's going, you know what's going to happen? I'm gonna freaking, I'm gonna draw a bush. I'm gonna draw a bush right there. Not George Bush or his son, George W. No, I'm gonna draw not Barbara either. Okay, so get that out of your head. Barbara's not making a guest appearance. No, this is going to be a happy little tree that's getting ready to get right there. Man, that does look like a live field. You know, usually he's got them punching kind of stance. You know, the horse ain't doing much better either if you actually look at it. But let's not do that. Let's not do that. Marsh writes, it's been a while since I threw away my last boxed TV. Yeah. The sad thing is that those boxed TVs, they're becoming extinct, in much the same way. I remember growing up all the way up to my teenage years, I would see these old ladies that would have beehives. Now, half of these old ladies that had the beehive hairdo, the glasses and stuff on, they'd still dye their hair black, or whatever color. It's usually black. The other half might have gray hair, but most of the time, whenever I saw a woman that had a beehive hairdo, she her hair was dyed black, and I think it's official. They went extinct. I don't know when this happened. Could have been early millennium, barely, maybe late '90s. The last of the beehives might have been gone, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. There might be a few of the beehive ladies still left, still holding it strong. Their love of Buddy Holly and the rest of those guys that went down in that plane. Was Buddy Holly one of the guys that crashed in that plane along with what's that guy's name? La 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 la. Da na ni no da ba da da fito da ba da do di do. La la, yeah, that's it. La la bamba. Is it Richie Valens? Is that his name? Yeah, yeah. What is Richie Valens? What is it? Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, maybe one other guy. They were in a plane one night. They was on tour, and then the plane just crashed, and it rewritten rock and roll history. How different may have things been had that never happened. Who else would have got on that plane? Who didn't go on that plane? That's an interesting question. Who didn't? And that's not an actual. Don't try to answer that if you don't know, because I don't know either. I can't give you the answer if you're actually curious. And it's more an open ended question. And you see what I did there. Real bush, not a GW bush, but an actual bush. All right, time to draw these britches. Yeah, it don't look too bad. I'm not happy with it either, but what can you do? Marsh says, "Wait, who died on a plane?" Well, unless I'm mistaken, this this happened back in like what, the 50s, 40s. I don't know, maybe 60s, 40, 50, 60s. Pick your decade. Either answer has a certain amount of chance to be incorrect. But no, it was these guys, these rock and roll guys. They were on tour and they all get hopped on a plane, and I think it was Richie Valens, the guy who did La 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 Bamba, Buddy Holly, who did Peggy Sue. I think he did Peggy Sue. Is that what it was? Then there was the Big Bopper or something like that. I don't know. There's like three guys or something, and that plane crashed, and that was a devastating thing that happened to rock and roll. I mean, about the best equivalent that I can give to you is I don't know. It's like putting Prince, Michael Jackson, and maybe mm, and just for the hell of it, we'll just say Phil Collins. Stick them all on a plane, and the plane just goes up in flames. And this happens like in the 80s or something. That would be kind of a blow, wouldn't it? Oh, and no, let's say a plane with Michael Jackson, Phil Collins, Huey Lewis and the News. We'll put his whole band in there. Michael Jackson, Prince, Huey Lewis News, Phil Collins, and not Don Knotts. We'll spare him from this murderous thing that I'm unleashing here. Uh, Don Henley. Don Henley. Can you imagine if they all got in a plane in the 80s and it crashed? I mean, like that would totally change the sound of music in the 80s. Like, because it would create a void, it would create a vacuum. I mean, when I think of the 80s of the music that played, Don Henley was dominated the airwaves. When I think about freaking Michael Jackson, was dominating. Freaking Huey Lewis and News, you can't escape them. Then there was Bruce Springsteen, but of course, in this fictitious universe I'm creating, he survives. So I guess Bruce Springsteen and freaking John Cougar Mellencamp, just take over the '80s now, like they already did. So I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, who knows how things would have flared out? It'd been interesting. Radio stations have to find somebody else, give somebody else a shot. But that would be kind of like a rough equivalent. Maybe I'm over exaggerating of the impact that these three or four individuals from the 50s, 60s, 40s that died. Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper in Rich Valens. Here's what this little um, panel looks like so far. Not too bad. Marsh says, wow. Yeah, some great hip markers there. I was about 20 or 30 years late to be born for that news. You see, I know you don't know this, but I'm going to tell you that I'm actually a vampire. It's the reason I'm always sketching past midnight. I've been around for a while, even though I was born in the 80s, but I'm a time traveling vampire. So make of that what you will. I was born in early 79. Early 79. I like that. I don't know why. Just the year 79. It just, how can I put it? I don't know. It's just got a good vibe to it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Do I even make sense right now? I tell you something else. The fact that you were born in early 79 tells me that you appreciate Voltron like no other. And you know the Power Rangers would be stumped by those five lions of justice. Yeah, you are a true appreciator of probably what the Transformers and then the freaking and well those Smurfs in there and Strawberry Shortcake just for the hell of it, My Little Pony. But like, yeah, Voltron, Defender of the Universe. There's all kinds of great stuff. What was that insect show? There's an insect kind of He-Man universe, insectoids. I don't know. I don't know. Then there was the Inhumanoids. Oh, awesome. Inhumanoids had the lava monster and decomposer. Had that, what is it, Tendril? I think it was Tendril, the big green thing. Then there was that group named Mask. Then there was Cops, the cartoon show. Oh man, Cops, the cartoon show, so well animated, and one of my favorite characters on the whole show was I guess his name was Bulletproof. He was the commissioner or whatever he was. I don't know. I remember watching as a kid, like he actually got shot up. He almost died. That's pretty intense TVing. I guess I wonder if Frank Miller's RoboCop influenced that. I wonder if that was the influence on that. But yeah, he got shot up, and then they rebuilt him, and basically his body was became reinforced with steel or something. I don't know. Yeah, pretty interesting. Uh, Marsh says, I used to hate Elvis, but recently I've grown a real appreciation. I have to say, I never hated Elvis, but like, when you get older, there's a lot of music that you kind of like, but then you grow an appreciation of as you get older. It's like Judas Priest. I remember in the late '90s or even millennium. I didn't understand Judas Priest. That guy that had that wasn't so much a feminine voice thing, but that screamy, girly, screamy voice just didn't do it for me. It's a Metallica guy, AC/DC, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Motorhead, Misfits. I can listen to all kinds of different stuff. Jimi Hendrix. But this, what is this? Freaking Judas Priest. But I remember one summer, I guess I got burnt out of listening to like Nirvana's in Euro and Nevermind and what's the other two albums? Bleached and it's the one that came out of Bleached. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't need to ink this. I need to draw. I need to draw, guys. I need to draw. I guess I got tired of listening to all that and listening to Meat Puppets, and I had bought like this. I had this red Ford Tempo. No, it wasn't a Ford Tempo. It was a Ford Escort, red Ford Escort, and I may have bought this at Big Lots or Walmart or Kmart or something, and CDs had fully taken over now, and I basically, I found this cassette, greatest hits of Judas Priest, so I got it. And then it was a good summer. I was working at McDonald's, having a good time, spending my money, wasting my money. And I just remember putting that in there and driving down the road. I have no air conditioning. I have to roll my windows down. I could feel the breeze hitting my face. And songs like the Green Monolith kicking in. Da na 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 na, da na 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 na, da na na na, da da da. And there's other hits like Breaking the Law, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law. Yeah, and it just it grows on you, and then I don't know, you just have to get older. I mean, but like if it had been a couple years before, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. It's interesting, and like Elvis Presley, as you had mentioned, growing an appreciation for Elvis Presley. I think there's a song I think he's got, "Return to Sender." I really like that. And I can't hold out, but I've done too much for you, baby. Down on that, stuck in a trap. Marsh writes, hip hop was born in '79. I think John Lennon died then too. But yeah, Voltron was rad. Yes, Mask. Yeah, I knew you appreciate. I knew you appreciate it. I was just old enough to where that I could recognize good stuff when I saw it, and about the time that I was somewhat aware of things, whatever. A lot of those shows were disappearing, but they were getting replaced with some, equally good shows. Lots of great cartoons all the way up to the '90s, and then before they made changes to television, they actually started enforcing the laws and stuff. And because a bunch of angry moms couldn't leave things alone. Anyway, God, this is going to be a bad picture. I sound like Elmer Fudd all of a sudden. It's got to be a bad picture. I'm gonna need some horse reference for this because I kind of winged it with the first horse, so I really don't want to mess this up. Kind of slop him on down there, slop him down, and this guy ain't gonna work. He got to go. Marsh writes, Power Rangers was garbage to me, but I'm okay with them now. Yeah, I remember I was in elementary school, probably fifth or sixth grade, maybe when Power Rangers came out, or at least where I live at, because you know how they do things. They usually roll these shows out in the big cities first, the major cities in the U.S., and then they spread it out to the rest of the country. So they do a test market. Like I remember watching Married with Children in the '90s and being like, this is great, which now Married with Children doesn't hold up quite well. It's not like All in the Family. It's where it's classic. But then again, Married with Children has its moments. But I remember realizing one day that Married with Children, even though it came out in the '90s, was actually like, I think it came out in like in it was put together and filmed and released in select cities in the late '80s. That's crazy. I could be wrong on that. You may have to test me on that, but there's a lot of shows that's done that way that you'd be surprised at. But Power Rangers was kind of like that. I think that's how they did Power Rangers, which I might be wrong. So this is a lot better. I need to put this guy here to the side, make him a little bit smaller, give his hat on there, and kind of just frame it in here. I don't know. Then we got the girl. We need to get her hair all going on here. Kind of see if I can get her leaning a little bit more because she's running. I'm sorry, guys. You can't really see what I'm doing. It's all Prism Studio Lives' fault. They had they not done what they've done, I'd still be doing what I do there, where I could zoom in. Marsh writes, yeah, I hate hair bands. So annoying. Didn't love Prince either, but now I get it. I can appreciate what they were doing. But Metallica, Tool, Primus, Weezer, Nirvana were my jam. I remember in the 90s, I didn't appreciate the 90s like I should have, but I appreciated it enough, where I don't regret. But man, I could have really enjoyed the 90s if I had better insight, but that's okay. It's one of these things where you have to carpe diem. I'm a really big carpe diem guy where you have to seize the day, be in that moment, because, tomorrow's coming one way or another. Might not be a good tomorrow, could be a great tomorrow. But right now we have today. And, if I carpe diemed the 90s, it'd been pretty cool. And what season of the day would I do in the 90s? I think I would appreciate a lot more of the music that was coming out at the time because I was a little bit of a snob, Corn, Limp Bizkit, Metallica, freaking squash them. What is Corn? What is that food between your teeth? I used to make some guy mad all the time about that. I mean, it was playful, but it was hurtful too at the same time because he really liked Corn. Not Corn the food, Corn the band. But anyway, but now it's like every once in a while I get this itch that needs scratched, and I'll just, I'll get on YouTube and I'll go down this deep hole of '90s music, especially new metal and stuff like that. Cold Chamber and Corn, like Biscuit, maybe some Disturbed. I don't know, just a whole bunch of stuff, just a whole bunch of bands that I never really fully appreciated, until it kind of moved on because radio nowadays, like, oh my gosh, you get what you get, I guess. You didn't appreciate it then, so that's what you get. You get the radio of today, I guess. Anyway, that's the theory. Man, I really need to work on that panel. It looks all right, I guess. Let's see. Marsh writes, hip hop was mostly my favorite then, though. Still love Jailhouse Rock from Elvis, probably my favorite of his. And then catching up here, Married with Children. For those that don't know or just now tuning in, I was talking about Married with Children a little bit earlier, and also All in the Family. Marsh Makes Comics says Married with Children was like underground TV. Fox was new. It's kind of turned my stomach, but something new and interesting and funny. Yeah, that's a really awesome way to put it, actually, because I have three examples of that: Married with Children, The Simpsons, and Family Guy. Okay, and I'll explain what I mean. Like, Married with Children was just this new raw show. It's just, I don't know. It's like, a guy would just stick his hand down his pants, just, constantly hate on his wife, and she hate on him, and the kids were awful people, narcissistic. And, yeah, that was kind of the show. And, it had some wonderful moments in it too. That's pretty cool. And it's always interesting to watch Al Bundy try to conquer, even, like he always seem to come out on the rough end of everything, but he would take the smallest victory that he could and he would make it the biggest thing ever was, and I really appreciated that, that Al Bundy is an optimist if I ever saw one. That guy can optimize anything to its fullest extent if he could. But I remember that that show was just like, yeah, it kind of got a hold of you, And then The Simpsons, when The Simpsons first came out, that was kind of the same thing. You had this dad who would choke his son half to death. I don't know if you really see that anymore in The Simpsons, but yeah, he'd get so mad at him, because he would do something, and um, I remember back in school there was this program called Dare. Was it uh, Don't Abuse Recreational Entertainment? Something about drugs. I can't remember what Dare stands for. There was a state trooper who was, explaining this program and all this other stuff, and there was a booklet that you could flip through that explained a lot about Dare, and a lot of the little cartoon animations that were drawn in the booklet was done by one of the animators or the creators of The Simpsons. And I remember that guy talking about like how he wouldn't let his kids watch The Simpsons, and I was like, whoa, I was blown away by that. Really? Huh? Nah. Do 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 do. Hmm. Can you still hear me? By the way, am I still broadcasting? I wonder. It says I'm live, but right now, like my little internet sign is showing no internet. Dang it. I'm going to turn my internet off and then I'm going to turn it back on. Okay. I don't know if I'm still broadcasting or not. Uh, let's see. Marsh says, "Yeah, I can hear you." But anyway, so I'm just going to assume that I'm broadcasting. So I want to keep talking anyway, even if it means I'm talking to myself. But there was Dare, and this state trooper wouldn't let his son. He told everybody he wouldn't let his son watch The Simpsons. I was like, huh. But the first thing I remember, being jarring, that was like new entertainment that was coming out was the Family Guy, and Family Guy first came out on Fox. A lot of people knew Family Guy from watching it on Cartoon Network, which I love. Family Guy, by the way, it's just a great show. It's got a lot of these cool pop culture references in it and stuff like that. But I remember when it came out at the time, it was this new show following The Simpsons or before The Simpsons. I can't remember. And I just remember feeling just so, there's this evil little baby, and I don't know, I didn't get it. I wasn't used to it. I just, my brain couldn't handle it. It was just so new and different. And I think a lot of people had the same reaction to it, honestly. And that's part of the reason why it didn't last long on Fox. But thankfully, uh, somebody appreciated it for what it was, and it got picked up by Cartoon Network. But yeah, uh, yeah, the something new, interesting, and funny, but kind of turn your stomach type of thing is what the heck? What am I doing? How do I get rid of this comment? uh, I'm going to put up my little banner here, sketching past midnight. There we go. That's one way to do it. So anyway, speaking of Cartoon Network, I used to love watching Cartoon Network all the time. That was my jam, and I'd watch it with staying at my good buddy's house. We sit there and watch it. His Granny would make us like some type of meal, mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, watch Family Guy and all these other shows that would come on. And I remember watching Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, late at night, working at a hotel as a front desk clerk. Many adventures to tell about that. But over time, I don't know what happened exactly, but eventually, at some point, Cartoon Network started switching gears, and they just got really hateful. Now I know some of you out there are really religious, and maybe you won't get it, and that's okay. And I'm pretty open guy, pretty hip, down with the kids. Not like that, but you know what I mean. But man, like I remember at one point, and it was night after night. I've never seen so many shows make fun of Jesus over and over and over again. Now, Family Guy likes to use Jesus a lot in their skits as a kind of like a whiny kid, spoiled kid, and God is just this big player and all this other stuff. And then every once in a while, you'd have. I remember there was one episode where Brian the dog was talking about Christianity and his views on it and stuff like that. And then but it was all lots of Jesus in that. They like to use Jesus a lot in the what is it, Robot Chicken. Used him a lot in that, Jesus and God and stuff. Then there's also Moral Oral, and Moral Oral is just this whole thing that just it's an enjoyable show, but at the same time, it's enjoyable and but also it's a slap in the face. It's meant to be a rib against Christianity, and then oh man, it just kept going on and on. I remember like every single show had some type of spoof or take on Jesus that wasn't over half of them wasn't flattering, and meant to be a thing that is supposed to be an appeal to ridicule, to be a thing of mockery. And then right at the tail end where I had to just like tap out and like where I had to say, F it, this is just crazy, like I can't do this, because they had I don't know, they had this guy they had a show that was like actually about Jesus on Cartoon Network where he went around and tried to act all gangster and stuff like that, and it's just like, come on, another one. Then they had like a special, like a news special where apparently they found like I don't know, a lost scroll of Jesus, and this is all on Cartoon Network, and you have to keep in mind, I think Squidbillies, Jesus is on Squidbillies as well. There's a Jesus squid, who has moral questionable standards, and it'd been all right, maybe. Yeah, I mean, depending on your tolerance, if it was just one show or two, but it was every one of them almost at one point. It really was, and Christians never really said anything about it because I guess they took one look and they just didn't let their kids watch. But other Christians that are a little bit more thicker skin did watch that stuff, and I guess we didn't say anything either. I don't know, but it's interesting, right? Some of you's like, CB, I don't want to hear this garbage. Well, that's what I believe. All right. That's just what I believe. I still enjoy Cartoon Swim overall, but I don't watch it like I used to, and I just I don't know. I think it's just really hypocritical. I just see it as something that's destroying and eroding the culture. I can only imagine a lot of the young children that watch that show have it corrupted their minds and made everything in their life a mockery. There was nothing sacred, and when nothing's sacred, that's when we get into trouble, in my opinion. But I'll answer comments here. We was talking about music earlier before we got in this whole religious tandem, whatever. Marshbanks comment says corn and limp biscuit kit bleach. I really liked Pro Jam and Silverchair. Yeah, I like that song that Silverchair's got in the year 2000 or something. In the year 2000. Yeah, I used to listen to that like a million times. Uh, Marsh writes, yeah, Dara was a big deal back then. My mom didn't like some of the Simpsons things either. Yeah, you couldn't get away from Dara. Dara was everywhere. They even gave out awards for that bad boy for not doing drugs. Yeah. Can you imagine a crackhead getting an award like you hadn't done some drugs in a year? Here's here's your T-shirt. Hey, that was a pretty cool logo though, the big red dare. Uh, Marsh says, "Yeah, I hear you." Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. When I was having internet trouble. Um, Marsh says, "Yeah, my theology is derived mostly from a cartoon dog." Left sarcasm. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. This is the sad thing, and this is in reference to Family Guy for anyone that's just now tuning in. There's unfortunately there is some impressionable minds that probably formed an opinion on faith, religion, Christianity based on what uh, Brian Griffin, Family Guy, had to say. And some people may argue, why let kids watch that. Well, kids watch what they're going to watch. Sometimes without their parents knowing, and sometimes with their parents knowing, because you have to understand, this is a generational problem where parents, when television was first a thing, everything on television was heavily censored and heavily regulated, and we used to be a Christian nation at one point. We're not anymore. I mean, there's large thing of Christians in this country, but we've segued out of that, and now we're purely a what do you call it? Not atheist, not agnostic. What is that word? It starts with a S. We're a whatever goes nation. How about that? That's what we are now. We shifted from a Christian society to whatever, and so a lot of television reflected that in the beginning, and then uh, parents saw that there were values on the television, and then so they weren't afraid to leave their kids sitting in front of the TV and eating their TV dinners or whatever, and then when those kids grew up, they had the same kind of vibe going on and on and go, and now uh, parents are continuing this tradition of leaving their children in front of the television, and the television does not have the family's best interest in mind, my opinion. Oh man, let's see. Marsh writes, for anti-Christian program, they sure spend a lot of time on religion, I guess. Nice to put their BS narrative out there with no resistance. Yeah, that's the thing, and I don't understand. I just really don't. Like, it's like the whole network, it's almost like making a conspiracy theory now. I mean, did all the writers hang out for all those different shows? Moral Oral, Family Guy, Squidbillies, um, those one or two mockumentaries about Jesus that they had, Robot Chicken. I think I even saw a reference about Jesus in this Frankenstein type of show. I can't remember what it's called, and Oh man, there were so many of them. Every one of them had something about Jesus in it, and none of it was really particularly flattering. Um, but yeah, it makes me wonder. Did they all just get together, and just you know, I mean, did they have bad experiences growing up with Christianity? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. It's interesting though, and it's really tragic and unfortunate because I really do think it impacted the culture negatively. It had a negative impact, and and it's also a bit hypocritical because they never. And I don't want nobody else's religious figures to be assaulted or anything like that. Like, not assaulted, but like verbally accosted or put down or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, you know, none of these shows on Cartoon Network depicted, Muhammad in a negative light. You know, uh, they may have done some stuff about Buddhism in a negative light, maybe, but not really. No, not that I can remember. It's all just Christianity. It's just how backwards it is. You ever notice that whenever there's a television show and it has something about a Christian virgin on it, the Christian virgin always gets laid. The one that's trying to what is it? What do you call it? The chastity thing. No, before marriage type deal. And like almost every one of these shows now, you got that going on where the Christian virgin can't hold out, and that it's all about trying to make Christianity seem backwards and wrong and mistaken on things. But then I look how on people seem in the culture. It's like it's interesting. Marsh says, I'm sure Doug TeNapel knew all of those people, but most others didn't speak up, so the wave of anti-Christian narrative prospered. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know. I guess I do know. It's one of these things where you just don't know what to say, it's just don't know where all that, venom comes from. But then I had to remind myself it's a big country. People like you and I, or me and you, whatever, we may have had good experiences with it overall. But there's some people in the country that may have had like traumatic experiences in one way or another, and so they just carry that hurt with them, and that bad association about that faith, and so it just kind of spills over. So that's always a possibility. When I think about a lot of these people that are, the whole hashtag Me Too movement thing, and and I'll be honest, like the whole thing's overblown. I think most people think it's overblown. Not to the fact that there are people that are suffering, women that need help, need to be heard and all that sort of thing. Um, but it's like at the same time, a lot of these creepos and weirdos and a lot of the horrendous claims that some women make tends to be in a lot of these coastal cities where values are a little bit fast and loose and a lot different. I don't know. That's my opinion on it. And some, when you think about Hollywood and all these directors that are molesting and diddling their crew and their actors and stuff like that, that's part of the culture that they're from. And of course, women who live in that society think that all men are evil because that society that they live in, that's pretty much their experience. But that's not how the whole of America is. That's not how the whole of the world is, as a matter of fact. And that started like the part of the whole hate men movement, really, the modern feminism, that sort of thing. Man, I'm getting deep tonight. Most Christians, conservatives have stayed silent historically, but I think the tides are turning. Yeah, I think one of the cool things about Christians is the belief in, like, turning the other cheek. And we got a lot in common with Buddhism, not in the sense of new agey stuff or anything like that, but like, carrying love in our hearts for our fellow man, fellow woman, fellow whatever, and but but unfortunately that does kind of bite us in the butt a little bit, because a lot of people who have no moral standards take advantage of that. And you know that's one of the, we're just an easy target. We're just an easy target for that sort of thing. Because when it's sort of like when a bully knows that somebody won't hit back, they take advantage of it. They get overconfident, and they take a few extra swings, a few extra licks. They just try to make your life miserable, until the day that you do stand up to them. But it's like, when you look at religions like Islam, they don't put up with that. Their whole thing's a lot different. Whole thing's a lot different for what they do. And but that's not to say that Christians can't be loud, can't speak up, and do all this other stuff. But a lot of what we're taught is to to go the other way, to run the other direction, and all this other stuff. But but there's also other examples in the Bible where you're supposed to run toward the evil, to confront the evil, and all this other stuff. So that's a thing too. I don't know. In a broader sense, getting past cartoons and all this other stuff, I think I'm just concerned about society. I'm not saying that people have to convert to Christianity or anything like that, but we are hardwired as human beings. It's actually legit. Scientific studies have been done on it, that we're hardwired for religion, for a belief in a higher power. And we're shifting as a society, both in this country and globally, to believe in ourselves. It's not necessarily a bad thing to have a little bit of confidence in ourselves as human beings, but to have full blown absolute confidence in ourselves and then just kind of ease out religion, especially and specifically God Almighty, I think it's a terrible mistake, because when you do that, and when you're hardwired as a human being to need religion, like you need sunshine, water, and food, then you're going to fill that void with something else. And that's the reason that people can't talk about politics anymore, because as we become more of a secular society, that's the word I was looking for. So we become more of a secular society. It's like people don't realize it. They're feeling that void, that need for God or whatever. They're filling it with something else, and they fill it with politics. And politics becomes their God, becomes their religion, even though they don't know it. And that's the reason, like, you see people getting terribly upset over this or that some president or some presidential candidate does. I mean, there's a lot to be legit upset about, but not to the extremes that people's taking it. Like pooping in somebody's mailbox, not stumping somebody's brains out in the street. One of the beautiful tenets of our society is the ability to agree to disagree, so that way we can still be friends and neighbors and believe differently from one another. But there's a lot of people pushing a new narrative in this nation, a new thing where everything has to be confronted to its fullest ability, and when you have that type of belief, you can't have a civilization. You can't have people of different faiths, different religions, different races. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. Let's see here. Mm. Frank writes of Salazar Art Nation, I'm running out of cheeks. I think everybody's running out of cheeks. I think people that are liberal feel that way. People that are conservative feel that way. People that are Christian and atheist and Satanist and agnostic and anything else is. I think everybody's feeling that way. I feel like Christians, especially, are starting to feel that way. It's been over 10 years of this really heavy assault on Christianity. It's crazy. March writes, I can absolutely emphasize with the hurt, but those claims are more activists with an agenda when it comes to mainstream media. But yes, faith based systems have done harm at times, unfortunately. Yeah, yeah. As I'm wanting to say stuff, but I feel like I'm just gonna, just hurt people's feelings and all this other stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I was going to get into Catholicism and stuff like that, but then I just like, I can't win for losing. I like being able to talk candidly and all this other stuff. But yeah, but there are examples of bad things that have happened to people in religions. Whether it be Christianity, Islam, even Buddhism. Be surprised. All kinds of different stuff. Some more than others, some less than others, and all. You know, but I think I agree that there's these activists that have bad intentions that just want to strip this nation and all nations of the world of faith. They're really big on that really great song by John Lennon, Imagine. I love that song, Imagine. But at the same time, if you actually listen to the lyrics of it, it's like, I kind of don't agree with that. It sounds like a nice thought on paper, but like, nah. I mean, like world peace and stuff like that. It's great, but like, I don't know. Hmm. Nefarious writes, what's up, gents? I'm glad to have you here with me on this fine, I guess it's Saturday now where I'm at. This fine Saturday morning. Not much. I'm just talking about stuff. I'm having one of these ebb and flow sessions. I started out talking about Buddy Holly, freaking Big Bopper, and um, the other guy's name, Richie Valens, died in a plane crash. Somehow I transitioned to Phil Collins and whoever else, and it went to Voltron, and now I'm talking about Christianity and Cartoon Network. that's kind of where I went with it. Um, Marsh says, "Sorry, I didn't mean to get too deep. I can't help it. I guess I'm kind of getting fed up these days." No, no, no. Get as deep as you want. I encourage everybody to say whatever you want to say. Just be nice to each other. I mean, you can be mean to me if you want. That's all right. I can always just, take my ball and go home, drink my water. Let's see. What else we got here? Nefarious Rats Mars. You should bring back your Christian rap. It was dope. I mean it. uh, the Locust. Shadow of the Locust for Life. Is that one of Marsha's songs? What is that? Shadow of the Locust. I don't know. I'm not hip. Marsh says, I like the idea of Imagine with the lyrics, no more religion too. Always, pees me off. Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of stuff like that. You know, Speaking of that, it reminds me talking about music, switching over to music. And for anyone just now watching, you're watching Sketching Past Midnight Life, best show around. Um, Reminds me of there's a lot of these songs that have a lot of kind of subtle and not so subtle subliminal things, like dirty stuff. I remember one of the most blatantly dirty things is um, Chuck Berry. Yeah, it's Chuck Berry. I think that's his name, Chuck Berry. Guy who basically almost invented modern rock and roll. He had this song called "My Ding-a-ling." The whole song's like about this boy who has this ding-a-ling that he plays with. He plays with it everywhere. At one point, he goes to church and he pulls out his ding-a-ling and he just starts playing with it. But because it's obviously, what do you call that? An allegory to penis. I don't know. It's a funny song, but that was one of the most openly dirty songs back in the day. But a lot of stuff was kind of veiled. Was Louie one of those hidden dirty songs? I can't remember. There's a bunch of them where it sounds all wholesome, on the surface, but when you actually examine it, it's not as wholesome as you think. Well, modern music has decided to just like do away with that. Just let's totally just get away from that. I remember, you know that song named Whistle. There's a song called Whistle. Let me try to think. What is that? What is that song called? Well, that's what it's called, Whistle. But it's got this rapper sort of guy. His name's Bull something. It's got the word bull in it, and it's got this girl singing in it. Let me whistle at you, baby. No, whistle for me or something. It's a very dirty song. And there's another song where this girl, she used to be on the Disney Channel, and she made a career for herself as a musician type. And gosh, that's like all of them, I guess. But like, trying to think of her name. She actually tried to kill herself at one point. Um, she's a great singer though. What was it that she sung? Well, anyway, she sung this song about like seducing this girl and popping her cherry. Is that what she said in the song? I can't remember. It's something that's happened over the summer. This happened over the summer, so it makes me think that she's like a guidance counselor or something in a summer camp. And she tells the girl in the song like to not tell her mother. That's very suggestive. But a lot of modern music is like, that plays on the radio. It's openly dirty stuff. And it's pretty wild. And a lot of people are just so desensitized that they don't even notice it, or maybe they do. Maybe they do. I don't know. Are we that desensitized now? Is that what it is? Is it like we live in like 1600s England or something like that, and or 1700s France, and we're seeing the guillotine at full work, and we're just watching public executions and rejoicing at them like it's the gladiatorial games, and watching Christians sacrifice the lions, and two badass guys with axes whacking at one another so there's one guy left. Is that how desensitized we are now? Or am I just, overthinking that just a bit? It's interesting though. It's food for thought. Food for thought. In fact, nice segue. It's mental junk food. um, Salazar says, Demi Lovato. That's right. She's the one that sings that dirty song about taking some girl's innocence and not telling her mother and all this other stuff. I swear, every time I hear that song, I imagine in my head that she's like one of those camp counselors, because where's she going to get this girl along unless she's like a teacher or a coach or something. And she's trying to teach this girl all about her body and all this other stuff. And it's in the song. I'm not making it up. You can listen to it. It's legit. Something about summer. Too cool for summer. Something about summer. I don't know. It's a great song, but it's yeah, oh man, it's dirty song. Um, let's see. Salazar says, I can't believe it's not the Artcast is the best show. Well, um, at one point it was, and then I heard that it got canceled. So I became number one in the ratings. It's like, Johnny Carson retired, and then I'm the new king of late night. Salazar says Chuck Berry did that song. Yeah, he did the Dingling song. Yeah, I believe he was the one that did that. Yeah, the guy that did Johnny Be Good and Johnny Be Good. No, 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 no. Makes comics in reference to what is the Shadow of the Locust. He says the Shadow of the Locust is a Christian rap group that had a lot of involvement with kind of a Christian version of the Wu-Tang, but from the West Coast. Well, except for me. Cool, cool, cool. I've always been East Coast, though. So I was all right. I got canceled. Yeah, you got canceled. They told me first because they wanted me to break the news to you, and they felt that if it came from a fellow artist, it wasn't a sting as much. So yeah, that's what happened with that. Sorry, hear about that. But Sketching Past Midnight still going strong for now. I'm excited, guys, and let me tell you some of the stuff I'm excited about. Um, First of all, I just want to say that I'm going to be making videos soon, like real videos, real YouTube videos, like I used to, but maybe better. Who knows? Like I said, I got the computer up and running, got the room cleansed. I got it cleansed of the dust bunnies. I went and slayed them with my mighty axe. Got my guitar strung up along the walls crudely with nails. So I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about things. And I'm going to make YouTube videos. I'm going to try to get my views up, try to get my subscribers pouring in if I didn't alienate everybody talking about the hot topics that we're not allowed to talk about because everybody's too sensitive anymore. Can't handle it. Can't handle it. I want to talk about controversial things, but golly, people really can't handle it anymore. But I'm excited. I'm excited. The prospects. I think things are going to start looking up. Maybe. Who knows? I shouldn't say that. I'm jinxing myself. They're going to looking down. They're going to be looking down. uh, but pretty pumped about that. And I've actually been working on my comic book characters, growing my comic book universe. And man, it's really coming together in a really cool way. Um, I got a lot of public domain characters that I'm spiffing up and I'm making them my own, which you can do that too. It doesn't matter. I mean, like, I may have my version of Frankenstein. You can have yours. We both own Frankenstein, except for you can't do mine and I can't do yours. But I'm taking a lot of public domain superheroes. I'm integrating them into my universe, and I've got some wild ideas going around, some great stories I'm wanting to tell. But I got a lot of stuff I got to do, man. I got to get this inked, got to get this drawn and stuff. And I know I've taken forever on this. Mostly been talking to Gavin and kind of buying time because I really want to flesh this out a little bit more before I ink it because I need references for the horse because right now it looks like a demon horse. Hell, it looks like a bull more than anything. So I really don't want to mess stuff up here. I want to do a good job. I want to do a good job. Will Avenger have something that he's like, okay, CB tried here. He tried to put out something fairly good. Appreciate that. And I also want to finish up my Crimson Frog, which there's no deadline on the Crimson Frog. I can take as long as I want on that. The Mighty Gib, who has Doom Barbarian on Indiegogo back at today, $25 tier, gets you 60 plus pages. Also, some bonus mini comics come with that bad boy. Doom Barbarian is on Indiegogo right now, so check that out. You will not regret it. You can also look up Doom Barbarian on the freaking something other Webtoons. Webtoons. You can read it on Webtoons. Anyway, this is Crimson Frog, and working on this bad boy. No deadline on that. I got like 4 pages out, and Gibbs can help me color it. Thank you very much, Gib. And Arch City Comics is going to letter it for me. So I got some pages ready to go. I just need to get them scanned or take pictures with my phone if I'm going to be a cheapo. And yes, a lot of cool stuff. Oh man, I got so much cool stuff coming on. I'm gonna, it's gonna be like President Trump's steaks. Remember when he first got elected president, or right when he was running for president? Maybe I can't remember. Within the first year he was talking about those steaks. He had these steaks that are coming out, and they were the best steaks ever. It made you want to eat 100 of the steaks because the way he talked about those steaks, they were the greatest steaks of all time. Well, that's unless you hate the president, then ignore what I'm getting ready to say. But in a similar vein, I'm going to tell you that these comic book ideas that I got flowing out of me is like those steaks. You're going to love it. They're the greatest comics of all time. You gotta buy, read, purchase, follow, subscribe, like. You gotta do all that stuff to get a hold of my comics. That's how great they're going to be. Let's see. Nefarious writes, Christian rap spans the nation. It has no boundaries. All MCs can step in God's cipher. Salazar writes, I like listening to Forgiven. He's a Christian rapper. Marsh, people want to know if you're streaming tonight. Nefarious art has always been controversial. Dealing with uncomfortable subjects and speaking truth through your art is the duty of every creator. I guess so. Nefarious also writes, hey, you can hate the president and still like steaks, bro. The best steaks. That's right. You can like these comics too. These are the best comics. You cannot, there's no comics like these. See, and I like how this face is shaping up, but I've explained this before. Sometimes I'll draw something that looks really bad, and I have to reassure you that in the beginning, my art always looks like it needs a little help, and then it comes together. Yeah. Well, oh shucks, you can't even see what I'm drawing, guys. I'm sorry. That's what I'm drawing. I'm working on this face. I always do that. I always get carried away, and I kind of sketch off panel. So I'm going to leave it up to Yuns. I'm going to throw it out there. Do you want to see some of the new comic book things that I'm working on? Salazar writes, I like the president and steaks. I like the president. Okay. I got to take her. Salazar wants to see my crap. Well, what I'm working on. One of these great steaks, the best ever. All right, Nefarious writes, tell us more about Crimson Frog. Well, okay, Crimson Frog. I'll be very brief about this, and then I'm going to show the new art and stuff. Uh, okay, so it's like the backstory about Crimson Frog is like in the '90s. He grew up in New Jersey. It's a rough neighborhood. It's really rough gangsters around, and he's living with his mom and single mother, and she's a really good woman. She's a righteous woman. She's trying to raise her son to be a good man. And basically, what ends up happening is he actually witnesses somebody getting killed on the streets, and he wants to intervene. He wants to do something, like his hero Cyber Frog. But then he chickens out, and which is understandable. He's just a kid, He's just a kid, and the bad guy has some harsh stuff to say to him, that really breaks him, really brings him down, So he goes home, and he actually comes home crying to his mom. And to be honest, I was one of those boys too. I'm still crying in this day. I watch shows that I shouldn't cry on, and I got so much empathy. I'm a girly man. I really am. I'm one of these girly men. I cry, cry, cry. But anyway, poor little Malcolm. He runs home crying to mama, and she's like, "What's wrong, Malcolm?" And he's like, I wanted to be like my hero Cyber Frog, and I wanted to blah 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 and stand up to this and that, and she's like, "Shh, it's okay, Malcolm. It's okay. Part of being a man is knowing when to pick and choose your battles. Maybe today you can't stand up to the evil in this world, but I promise you will grow up to a fine young man if you remember all that I've taught you to raise you to be the man that you're going to be. And you'll change the world. You'll make the changes in the world that you want to see. You'll be a man who will lead and stand by his convictions, who will know when to listen and when to fight and all this other stuff. I don't know, some big great, speech. I have to really think it out. This is off the top of my head. He goes to bed that night, and then the UFO shows up. Bean comes through his window, takes him out the window, and he's like, goes, "Mom," and then she's like, "Malcolm." This is back in the '90s. And then fast forward to the present day on some alien planet, Kazibadorb, where the Vespas, these giant alien wasps, had taken over this planet, killed everybody, and used their blood for honey and made these honey hives. And this guy who was once a captive of that world has came out and arisen as a hero for his former captors. And he donned the identity as Crimson Frog. He's black. Not that matters. He's just black. That's his skin pigmentation. But anyway, his face right here is he paints it green. Paints it green, and he mostly wears red because the Vespas can't see red. And I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to bore everybody to tears. I think it'd be more exciting to read it. But of course, if anybody wants to know, I can always go in more details. But long story short, he finds out some important details on how to deal with the Vespas, and he wants to go back to Earth to warn Cyber Frog of the hell that is to come. But the thing he doesn't know is the Vespas had already made it to Earth a decade earlier, and the apocalypse had already arrived. But he could still play a major role in helping Cyberfrog overtake the Vespas. And the cool thing is the way I've written the story, it doesn't interfere whatsoever with whatever Ethan Van Sciver's doing, and doesn't mess it up, and it can work along with anything he's got come up with. And it's going to be like a 20-page story, and it's going to be free, probably a PDF, and it'll never get published. This is something I'm just doing just for fun. I thought it was really cool. I couldn't get it out of my head, and it's one of these stories that I just had to tell. Now, let me go get my, Jake Smith says, dope. Thank you, sir. Let me go get my portfolio, okay? Bear with me. All right, guys, I'm back. Oh gosh, I'm breaking my bones. Did you hear my hip just pop just then? It made a big loud noise. Nefarious writes, "Okay, take my money." No, I can't take your money. This thing's gonna be this thing will be free. It'd be just I'll let everybody know when it's done, and stuff like that. But there'll be like a free PDF, and the only thing I hope to get out of it is like people be like, "Hey, this guy can draw," and I'll subscribe to his channel. And I hope that it does the same thing for Gib, who's going to be coloring, and the same thing for Arch City Comics that will be lettering it and stuff like that. And just get a lot of attention, a lot of buzz, and then maybe it may lead to more work, paid or unpaid. Hell, I don't care. But eventually I want it to be paid. Because I want to quit doing what I'm doing and just make comics full time. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to show what I'm working on now. Hopefully, I ain't got no secret notes laying around. So here lately, I've been taking and drawing on my 11 by 17 paper, like sketching out ideas, doing what the hell? I've been doing what? What have I been doing? Oh yeah, drawing on my 11 by 17 paper, kind of sketching out ideas and stuff like that, putting stuff together. Normally I just do it like sketchbooks, but I like the room and the breadth of room that I have on these 11 by 17 papers. I have extra go around. So I was like, well, yeah, that's just what I'll do. So this is my, I don't know what to call it anymore. The original name for this team was the Awesome Five. And, which I think I'll do away with that because a couple of years ago I discovered that somebody had published a superhero group under Image Comics by the name Awesome Five. I had that team for it's just one of these things. Like I used to have a character called the Darkness, and somebody else came up with the Darkness. Thanks a lot, Mark Silvestri. But his Darkness is a lot cooler, I think. Anyway, here is the tentative names that I have now is the Fearsome Five or Star Force Five, Monster Force, Monster Men. uh, it's a team like of mostly girls, And hang on a second. Let me turn my internet off, turn it back on because I'm having internet trouble. Okay, so yeah, okay, so one turns into a werewolf, one's like this Batgirl. Um, one is this technological based. I of course I didn't draw the rest of her. I ran out of space and just want to kind of get the idea. She's like part cyborgish. Then we got this girl. She turns into a big blue flame. And this guy, originally what I did was I just drew some dude, and I kind of wanted to create the kind of like the scheme of what the outfit looks like for the superhero outfit, the superhero team. And I was like, you know what? Maybe they change it up instead of like having all these honeys on here. Maybe there's a guy in the team, and that would add an interesting dynamic. Just one dude, because usually, you'll see a lot of superhero teams where it's like mostly men, and it'd be like one or two girls, or maybe one. So I flipped it. It's going to be an all-girl team with one dude, and he's going to stick out like a sore thumb. And I thought it'd be cool, like he had a magnetic power, and he had chains wrapped around his arms, and so he can make the chains whip out and stuff like that. So he actually has to touch metal or something like that in order to magnetize it and have an effect on it. So hence why he has the chains on his arms. And then this blue-haired lady here, she gets covered in blue flames. Her hair turns into flames and stuff, but her skin actually turns blue, so it becomes blue. But the only reason I didn't color her skin blue in this is for two reasons. Number one, my color marker kind of ran out, And number two, I wanted to make sure that I put in there that she's black so I can remember, because I got so many ideas in my head. I don't want to get lost. And so I kind of wanted to see what that would look like also. Um, all right. So let me answer a few of these comments. Stitch Whack Backer. Hello, boys. I'm a girl. Tee. Well, I'm glad to have you here, Stitch. The first says, "Hey, Stitch, check out these pencils of Crimson Frog. 11 by 17, glorious format." Let's see what else we got here. Stitch writes, "Isn't Fearsome 5 a DC team?" It probably is. I have to do research, because about a lot of great names are taken for a lot of stuff, and so it's kind of really hard to keep track of everything. So it's just tentative names. And the phrase says, "Have you named them yet?" Well, the original name was Awesome Five, but that apparently got taken sometime in the millennium, and so it's probably for the best anyway, because they were loosely based off of Fantastic Four. And as I've gotten older and wiser, I realized that if I want to draw and write Fantastic Four, that I should just draw and write Fantastic Four, if that makes sense. So my new train of thought is I need to let go. I need to quit being so whatever about it, and I just need to let things be what they are and let them become what they're going to become, and let all my influences mush together and see what happens, and don't be so afraid, uh, to deviate from what because it's those deviations that's what's going to separate you from everybody. It's those deviations is what's going to, I think, get people excited about what you're doing. And I think this is going to be a really cool team. A girl that, has bat wings and kind of vampire like, and has a banshee scream, and the cool thing about this girl in my head, when she gets her powers, she's like a pop star or supermodel, and she's very young. And so when everybody else gets their powers, it's very visible, the changes in them, except for that girl. And she actually kind of runs away or scares away from them or treats them like they're freaks and stuff like that. But it's a cruel twist of fate, is that she turns into this werewolf later on, and so it's sometimes it's kind of uncontrollable and stuff, and just this big green werewolf, and it's very terrifying experience for her. Um, And this lady here, who will end up being the leader of the team, is part technological lady. She starts to lose a bit of her humanity, because it seems like as time goes on, she becomes more machine, more mechanical in her thoughts as opposed to human. I'm thinking about, though I'm not for sure, that I was actually going to kind of make her, maybe, I may change my mind, I may chicken out. I was going to make her kind of liberal, I thought it like, how Green Arrow and Green Lantern, when they had the book back in the day, where you had the conservative or sort of conservative point of view and then the liberal point of view on things. So I thought it'd be kind of neat to have that kind of dynamic on the team, where maybe she would say some stuff, and then there'd be somebody on the team that would be like really conservative. So there'd be this back and forth where you'd hear both points of view, but instead of like preaching to the viewer, you would be left to make up your own mind. And not really do it a lot. I don't want to do that, because then it would suck the fun out of the comic, because the fun is about explosions and things blowing up and the science fiction. I want a lot of science fiction in there. So I don't know if I'll do that or not. And hence the blue hair is kind of a little bit of an ode to that. And then, this guy's going to be in a relationship with like two of the girls on the team, so there's going to be a little bit of a love triangle in the same way. Jean Grey, Wolverine, and Cyclops, but not like how they do it now, where they want to have a threesome. But no, more like, uh, only one chick can have this guy. There could be only one. So that's the whole concept here with this. Let me read a few comments and I'll show you something else I'm working on. Is that Jeannie Storm? No, no, no. Salazar writes the human blowtorch. Oh God, you see, I was talking about this the other night when I was streaming with you. Like you just have this wonderful mind that just just crap stuff out, and it rings true to my heart. The things that you just come up with that are just great stuff. Um, I was actually going to revive a character named the Blue Flame and make it part of my universe. But I was also thinking about just giving her the name the Blue Flame, because I thought that'd be pretty cool. She would have like about half the same powers as the Human Torch, but the difference is she won't be able to fly. I mean, she could, but I think I'm going to give her like a fear of heights, so she doesn't really project her flames around like how the Human Torch does, because she's just fearful of it. And only when she gets really, really, really mad when she overcomes that fear at one point in the story where she may actually fly for once. But no, I'm going to keep her kind of grounded, and I thought that would be things to separate them. I want to make them explorers, but as time goes on, I may change that. But right now, I'm just kind of designing the look of the team and trying to get them down. The phrase writes, no, 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 no. The characters themselves, they got names. I don't know. I was thinking, no, they don't. I was thinking Technomage, but I think that's already taken, or it might be from a defunct comic book company. But the Blue Flame, I have no idea what his name is yet. I also was thinking about naming her Karen. Just a lot more me being goofy with that. I think I've settled on the name of this. The name of this character, oddly enough, backstory for those that don't know. My character Wildcat used to be able to turn into a big green werewolf, and this werewolf's name was Wild Thing. The Wildcat version. So Wildcat would hulk up into Wild Thing, but I thought, well, that's just too much. That's just too much stuff to have in Wildcat, and I feel like it just be too much. So I separated that character, made it its own character in this. So now this poor girl, turns into this Wild Thing. But I decided to name this creature until further notice, She Beast. She Beast. She Beast. And if for some reason I have trouble with people with the name using the name Wildcat, because you never know. I may call him Wild Thing, or I may find some way to respell Wildcat a funky way. So I got options. um, have a naming contest giveaway. Okay, well, I got stuff to give away. To be honest with you, I actually threw away about 40 comics when I was cleaning my office. It's like comics that I can't think that anybody else would want. I threw away a bunch of cross-gen comics. They were beautiful comics. I just not interested in them. I got a bunch of stuff. I felt so bad about it. I felt like a evil person. It's like a cardinal sin. Or something. But I don't know. Think about it. I'd be down for whatever. Uh, Stinch writes the unscrupulous quadrilateral. Oh, geez. Now you're going to figure out how bad my English is. Quadrilaterals. The unscrupulous quadrilaterals. To be honest with you, I actually kind of like that, because it's just so over the top. The unscrupulous quadrilaterals. I like the way I drew these women, by the way. I think this might be the way I draw women from now on. This just came out natural. I wasn't looking at nothing. This just thought, it just came out, and I like it. The first writes, flip it, make Flame Lady the conservative, and Sheborg or Monster Girl the live. I could, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Uh, Stitch, you're killing me, man. The pernicious parallelograms, parallel Parallelograms. That's one of those words I can't say. Pernicious. I love it. Pernicious. Pernicious. It's pernicious, isn't it? Pernicious. Pythagoras. Damn it, guys! You can coming out with all these words that are beyond my. Oof, oof. Uh, Archimedes. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. That's pretty good, Archimedes, because I've been mispronouncing a couple words here that you've been throwing back and forth so far. So I got to give myself some credit for that one. I was able to pronounce that Archimedes, unless I'm mistaken. So now I'm going to show you the next thing. Okay, I'm excited about this team. I really like how it's shaping up. I'm awesome. Okay, here's this other stuff. All right, so this is my. These are all my characters, but they're also public domain characters. So if you want to do your own version, have fun. But these are my versions, okay? This is Silver Streak. You know, he's basically a Superman type character. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him focus more on speed. And his outfit's going to be kind of rigged like an exoskeleton, I think, for his running. And I want him to be a little bit faster than a cheetah, but I don't want him to be as fast as the Flash because I feel like that's a little too much to make him that fast. And because I feel like, you know, by giving him limitations, it's going to make him a lot more interesting, a lot more dynamic, you know. Over here, we've got this character, the Black Terror. Now, I want to figure out, I want to give him a different name than the Black Terror. And I don't know. It just don't ring true to me, but I can be talked out of it. But I want to slim him down and let me show you. This is what he'll look like. Sorry, guys. This is what the Black Terror will look like. Except for I may do the crossbones a little bit different, but this is going to be kind of like the final form of the Black Terror. His eyes, his pupils will be pure black. And the backstory on this character that I'm rewriting is that this is not the Black Terror that we all know and love. This is somebody else, and that's part of the mystery of the character. He's also going to have a flying pirate ship, and he has like a green hawk that accompanies him as a little sidekick. And I just think that's badass. You know, it's just really cool. I love this. Every once in a while, I'll draw something and I'll be like, yeah, that's great. That's some good stuff right there. You know. Anyway, yeah. Don't pay attention to this blue color because that's not the blue color I would go with. It'd be much lighter. Nefarious says, "Oh snap! Is that not Daredevil?" No, that's not Daredevil. Not. I'm getting confused now. It is and it isn't. How about that? This is public domain Daredevil, and I love the design so much. They're not really tweaking that much of Daredevil. I'll show you a really cool Daredevil drawing that I did. If I can find it. Oh. So this is like a potential cover to Daredevil's own book that I would do. This is his sidekick, Roger. Roger is a robot kangaroo. And for those that don't know, Roger was also this muscle-bound kangaroo in real life in Australia that was very famous. This Daredevil version, he will have an Australian accent, and he is a compulsive liar. So basically, he just constantly lies, and he tells outrageous lies on top of that, provable lies. And there'd be a lot of times where he'd talk about he'd be hanging out with other heroes and how he saved them. And, he actually beat up like two guys. But like the story he'll tell is like he took on like 10 of the world's most powerful villains. And so that's my version of Daredevil, and nobody really knows his origin because he keeps lying about his origin story. So he'll have these kids who'll be talking to him and be like, what kind of hero are you? What kind of powers you got? It's like, well, I have this. Sometimes my senses tingle. I stick to walls. When I was a kid, I was in a museum one day and we was taking a tour, and this radioactive spider bit me. And ever since then, I had spider powers. But one day, I had an Uncle Ben who got murdered, and I learned that with great power came great responsibility. And there'd be another time where he'll lie to some kids, and they'd be like, what's your origin story? He's like, well, I used to be a scientist, and I was working on a gamma bomb when one day this kid ran out in the middle of it, and so I went to save him, and I threw him in the ditch, and then I got hit by the rays of the gamma bomb, and so he's constantly making up lies about himself, over-aggrandizing. And I was actually going to put in the comic book that I would do of Daredevil where he's getting sued at one point by this company that says that he can't use that name, since he's been gone. Because all these superheroes I'm bringing back, I'm actually going to have them missing for 40, 50, 60 years, and they're being reintroduced into society now. And there's a story behind that. And Daredevil's one of them, and he's trying, take back his life or assume his new life and stuff, and he's learning that he's getting sued, and that he can't call himself that Daredevil no more. And so I got a new name for him and everything. It's really cool. It's really appropriate, and I think Inzal will think it's badass. At least I think so. I don't know. That's just me, though. So we got Daredevil here. And let's see. Black Terror looks like the Punisher plus Doctor Doom. Yes. Well, my idea for the Black Terror is the way that I'm going to write him is what if Batman became Superman? So he's got the mentality of Batman, but the powers of a Superman. And so that's kind of scary. And he's not going to be this muscle bound like I showed you earlier. He's going to be a little bit slimmed down. So I like the idea of that. This is a totally 100% me character that I created. This is not a public domain character whatsoever. This is a Shamrock, luckiest lady alive. And she carries guns and stuff, and she's Irish, and she's got Irish sense of humor, Irish wit, very insulting and stuff. And yeah, I'm just kind of putting her together, and yeah, I'm going to throw her in there somewhere. Salazar says, I've been meaning to do a Black Terror too. Do it, sir. I love that. That'd be great. I think these public domain characters are fantastic. And one of the things that I'm doing with these public domain characters, by the way, is like I'm trying to pretend like what if they never went away in a sense of like not being published anymore? How would people draw and render these characters now? And so that's part of what I'm doing. I'm just kind of applying a lot of that logic to it. See, Nefarious writes, I want to do Captain Battle. Was cooking up a story this afternoon, actually. All right, see, great minds think alike. So this is, what is his name? Stardust, the super wizard. And Stardust is going to be central to the story that I'm crafting. And oh, man, this is going to be so over the top. It really is. And so that brings me to this. This is a new villain that I'm making, and he actually changes into this Lovecraftian looking golden thing. It's like tentacled and stuff. But this is his humanoid looking form. At least the upper part of him. So anyway, I created a character, and this character's name is War Eagle. Pretty happy with old War Eagle here. And I got a pretty cool backstory that I'm working on for War Eagle. Basically, he was in World War II. An alien ship happened to crash in the middle of the battle, and he helped the alien inside, and he ended up getting his arms and legs blowed off, and the alien saves him with his technology, and he gets cybernetic implants and legs and limbs and stuff, and the alien actually creates the outfit for War Eagle, and he makes him a symbol for his people and stuff like that. But he never gets credit for being War Eagle. Actually, way I was going to do it is I was thinking I ain't got the story all together yet. Don't judge me. Don't judge. But let me see here. I'm hitting buttons. I'm sorry. Um, but the story with War Eagle is he doesn't get the credit for doing what he did in World War II. Instead, it was I think some white guy who they put in the costume called War Eagle as well got the credit. And what I was going to do, I could change my mind. I could shift things around. But what I was going to do is basically he ends up serving in the Korean War and in Vietnam. Vietnam was the last war he was in. And basically, he becomes arch nemesis with this senator named Senator McShady. I can't think of a name for McShady. But McShady was captured in Vietnam when he was in the war. He was a pilot, and when McShady was captured, he basically ratted out all his fellow U.S. prisoners, and they earned him the name Songbird, and so that will play a role later on in the comic. And so what I wanted to do is have War Eagle living in modern day America, trying to stay out of it, and like he can't because the society we live in now, everybody wants you to pick a side, make a choice, no, 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 and all this other stuff, and it just gets to the point where he has to come back, and I want to do flashbacks with him and his dad, and show War Eagle as a child where he's impatient and he makes bad choices, and where his dad is teaching him morals, virtues. He's a godly man, teaching him godly ways and teaching him to turn the other cheek and when to pick and choose his battles. Teaching him that sometimes people do hateful things not because they're bad people, because they're foolish, and that they might not always be foolish. You got to be able to discern between when someone is truly got evil in them and when they're just being dumb. And I don't know, a lot of life lessons. And then, he's going to be over the top, breaking stuff down, kicking butt here, left and right. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I got a lot of cool ideas with it, where I want to go with it. Let's see. We'll do Captain Battle. The fire says it's Captain Battle. Well, actually, there is like 5 or 6 public domain heroes that look quite a bit alike, because the costume designs are very simple, A lot of those costume designs kind of I feel like made their way to Captain America, oddly enough. I spent a lot of time working on this, War Eagle SketchUp, mock-up, or whatever you want to call it. Let's see. Here is now this is the original helmet for War Eagle. I really like this helmet, but I've had a couple of people tell me that this helmet ain't really doing it for them, you know. And so the people have spoken. So got rid of the helmet, and that's the reason he's got the helmet he's got now. This one, but this is the original helmet. Really like this, but everything else is pretty much the same, you know. He's a bad mamma jamma. I'm gonna put some bows and arrows and stuff on there, all that stuff. Here's some of the original concept designs I started with. Um, this was the image that really sold me and took me in the direction that I went in. I really like how that turned out. Yeah, it's like see, I still hadn't had it figured out. I went through a lot of incarnations of War Eagle here, trying to get him nailed down, you know, before I finally settled on this. So there you go, guys. Most of my audience has left me. Let's see. Let's see. Nefarious writes, "Bra sketched, inked, and colored on notebook paper. You mad lad? I am. Wait, you know what? I've grown a new appreciation for notebook paper. Like I've been drawing in sketchbooks. You know, the big fancy sketchbooks. And then different types of paper, and I've reached a point now to where like I've not been I'm letting go of being treating paper like it's this precious stuff, which I'm grateful, you know, to be very liberal here. I'm very grateful that a tree gave up its life so I could draw on its corpse. Really appreciate that. But at the same time, like I'm not going to treat it like this, you know, this precious thing. I gotta, you know, I get these ideas, I gotta slop them out, and I've always been kind of weird about drawing in sketchbooks because I felt like if it wasn't perfect, then I'd be like destroying that sketchbook. You ever get a new sketchbook and feel that way? And I think a lot of that comes from like watching other YouTubers, like these guys that, you know, they just like craft this stuff out, and you just like, how do you do that? You know, I mean, I know how they do it, but like each page is a mind blowing work of art. I'm not just talking about in terms of how they render and make stuff look awesome, but like their compositions are so original and over the top. And these are sketchbooks. I don't see no sketches. I see stuff that could be T-shirts and stickers and movie concepts. You know, and then and so when I go to start drawing sketchbooks and stuff like that, it's like I treat them like those sketchbooks are holier than thou when they don't need to be. The idea behind the sketchbooks is you can go and draw in them and give yourself permission to, lack of a better word, fuck up. Give yourself permission to be terrible, you know, to suck, you know, because you have to be terrible. You have to suck before you can get great. You don't start out as Eddie Van Halen. You start out as Bob. You know, and so that's my whole thing, to remind myself is I'm Bob right now, but I'm going to be CB Smallwood very shortly. And but first I have to crap out a couple of bad drawings here and there, and if that means I have to destroy every sketchbook I got to do it, filled with terrible drawings, and that's just how it's going to be, because eventually I'll get to that point one day when I'll do a sketchbook and it's going to be the bomb.com. And once I had that feeling, that idea, it was liberating. And so now it's like I don't care what I draw on. You know, it could be a Burger King bag, for all I know. And I want to say one other thing, and this has been very, very helpful. And I really recommend this to anybody that draws comics or anything. It's that uh, the traditional school book blue line paper. This is great stuff, and I tell you why. Um, let me see if I can find an example. I don't think I got one handy. Well, I'll use this right here. Just um, like when I'm drawing my heads, like my cheekbones, not my cheekbones, but my jawbones sometimes don't line up. And, they don't quite line up here. But if you notice, here's this line and it goes straight over here to this line. And so it's really helping me tighten up my anatomy and my proportions up really well. These eyes are roughly on the same line and stuff like that. So subconsciously, as I'm drawing and all this other stuff, and I'm just having no fear about it. And I feel like when you just let go and you just do your thing, great stuff can come out of that. Uh, yeah, yeah. So like, uh, sometimes I might not have paper handy, but whatever comes out, I gotta obey. I gotta obey the notion. The furry rats, I love it, man. You're talented as heck. I can't wait to see some of these come to life. I really, really appreciate that. I feel the same as far as like, can't wait to see them come to life. The same thing I tell everybody else, I tell myself, I need to draw faster. Absolutely need to draw faster. There's a lot that I need to get done and a lot of stories I'm wanting to tell. And it's one of these things where I tell everybody these stories and they're not seeing the greatness of the vision I have in my head. Kind of reminds me of the story where Kurt Cobain uh, kind of had these lyrics for Teen Spirit, and I think he may have kind of hummed the tune, and his bandmates were so unimpressed with it, they thought it was like, oh, that's terrible. But only when they started recording it and putting it together is like, it's like, wow, this is a great song. Well, I think a lot of ideas are like that. A lot of times, regardless of who has the ideas, like it's hard for other people to see the grandiose of the ideas, and so I really do need to draw faster to get these out. The Farias writes, "We'll plant more trees. Indeed, we will. Well, not me. Somebody will. Hopefully, somebody don't. I guess I'll have to. Because won't have no traditional media to draw on. I'll have to grow some papayas. Papayas? Papaya? What is that Egyptian paper? I don't know. Eddie Van Halen started off as Eddie Van Halen. Maybe so, but he couldn't play guitar like he does now. A funny story about Eddie Van Halen, and I think I may close on this actually. Um, Eddie Van Halen. Where's these markers at? I want to show you these are, by the way. For anyone that wants to know, and this ain't like no sponsor because my channel's not that big. These markers are what I use to color this stuff. They're not nothing fancy. There's like 16 of them in here, and these are AENART, and art, whatever. $5. These are like five to $6. It's like five. This is $5 markers that I got off of Amazon. $5 markers. There's 16 of them. These are alcohol-based markers, dual tip, chisel tip, and fine point. And I'm going to have to get some more because I about used up the ink or whatever in a lot of those. So if you're interested in those, that's where I got these from. Not that these are colored great or anything, but it really helps to bring it together and kind of get a visual how things look. But anyway, my Eddie Van Halen story. I had bought this VHS tape from Big Lots back in the day, and it was something about rock and roll, and it's supposed to teach how to play guitar or something. I don't know. Never learned anything from it, I think, except for something a little bit about how to play a song from the Police that I can't even remember. But there was a story about this guy who used to be roommates with Eddie Van Halen, okay, in college. Now, this guy who was roommates with Eddie Van Halen, he'd see Eddie Van Halen, practicing guitar and stuff like that all the time. That's all he did. He played guitar all the time when he was in college, just sitting in his room, practicing, playing and playing and playing. And his friend used to talk to him. He's like, Eddie, come on, man, let's go get some girls, man. Let's go, go some double dates. let's go find some ladies in some bars. Let's have some good times, man. And Eddie would be like, nah, I'm just gonna play guitar. And uh, Eddie Van Halen, later recounted the story to somebody else, and he was saying like, he used to get harassed a lot about going out and partying, finding girls and stuff like that. And he says, the funny thing is, I spent all that time practicing playing guitar, and because of that, I got good at it and became a rock star. And now I get all the putty I want. Well, she used another word. That's the point, got to put your time and effort. I'm not directing that at you. I'm directing that at anybody. I'm directing that mostly at myself at your chosen craft, and you'll get the things out of life that you want, but you have to really put yourself in it, And I always remember that quote from that old crappy VHS tape. It really stuck with me. Nefarious writes, yeah, if everyone gets behind an idea and believes in it, they make it better and stronger together. I like that. Papyrus. That's right. That's right, isn't it? Papyrus. Well, I think we've come to the end of the show, folks. You got to see a little bit of Crimson Frog, got to see a little bit of that horror anthology I'm working on, got to see a little bit of the mighty War Eagle here and some villain. Just me goofing off here, doing like a really rough, crappy sketch here, and a very, very rough, crappy sketch there. And then, of course, we got to see my super team that I'm putting together here, getting the band together. And we got this cool stuff. And then last but not least, we've got the original Daredevil, the real Daredevil. So I really appreciate everybody that tuned in, that toughed it out to the bitter end. For anyone that may come back and watch the replay, I appreciate everybody commenting and being an active part of the show. That means a lot to me. Just a reminder for anyone that's new to please subscribe to be kept up to date to all my latest shenanigans. Just as always, be the change that you want to see. Be that tide that rises all ships. And please remember to draw faster. And finally, carpe diem, my friends. Seize the day. This is CB Smallwood, and you have been watching Sketching Past Midnight Live. Thanks a lot. I'm going to keep talking when I should just shut up and just end it on a good note.